Hi, Food Bank friends. Thank you so much for joining us today for the next installment of our video series on learning more about the food bank. I'm Laura Vilwak. I'm the manager of volunteer and donor engagement. Today, I'm with Katie Carver Reed. She's the vice president of the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank, and she's going to be talking to us about our network partners and programs. I was hoping that you could tell us a bit about the food bank's network and our partners. Who are our partners and how does that work?
Yeah, so the food bank partners with more than 600 hunger relief programs across our 8-county service area. And those programs include food pantries where people can go and get groceries. We're in a food pantry right now. Hot meal sites where people can go and get prepared food and experience fellowship and fun with one another. Shelter programs that provide housing and food. And other types of programs like kids after school snack programs, backpack programs, etc. And those programs are operated by a lot of different types of organizations. They may be your local church. It may be another nonprofit organization in the community, but all of them are coming together to do the good work of feeding people in our community that need it.
So how has the food bank evolved over the past several years? We had the pandemic and inflation, those sorts of things. How have we reached the level of the people who need help?
That's a great question. I think I've been at the food bank for 12 years, and in that time we've evolved a lot. And in a lot of ways, I think that is the work of the food bank, to constantly evolve to ensure that we're meeting the needs of the community. And so certainly the pandemic was a challenging time for everyone in your work life and your personal life. And a lot of programs in our community were struggling to stay open. We were told to stay home, but people had to show up to get food to our community, right? And so the food bank had to stretch itself in new ways to ensure that the community was getting the food that it needed. And so did our hunger relief programs, those food pantries, hot meal sites, shelters. So everyone had to stretch in new ways. At the food bank, that involved a lot of different things. One that we're particularly proud of is our home delivery program. And so in March of 2020, we partnered with our local United Way of Summit and Medina counties and DoorDash. And we're the first food bank in the country to partner with DoorDash to provide home deliveries to people, to ensure that people could stay in their homes and stay safe and get the groceries that they needed when they needed them. And so just last year alone, we did 26,000 home deliveries. And that's a partnership with our Hunger Relief Network. The food bank doesn't do these deliveries alone. Right, and so we partner with organizations across our 8-county service area to enable those deliveries to people who maybe are experiencing health issues, who have mobility or transportation issues, to ensure that they get their groceries. And so that was new for the food bank, certainly. We also started our pop-up pantry program. We know that there are areas in the community that may not have a charitable food program like a food pantry nearby. Or if they do, maybe that program's not open as much, and so people have less access throughout the course of the month. And so using a lot of information and available data that we have, we've identified locations in the community where the food bank pops up in a parking lot and provides pantry services once a month. In particular, because of the way partnership with the food bank works, sometimes there are limitations to traditional partnership. But we've been able to partner, as an example, with local colleges and universities so that we can reach the general community, but also students that are struggling with hunger. Oftentimes for students, they are trying to get through college, right? They're trying to study and get that degree so they can go on to do great things in our community, and they're struggling along the way. And so pop-up pantries allow us to partner in that way as well. So I'd say those are two examples. Oh, and this space that we're in right now. And so before the pandemic, the food bank really didn't serve the community directly, and so that pop-up pantry is an example. But also in 2021, we opened the Keith D. Monda Family Food Pantry and Resource Center at our Stark County campus, which serves around 1,000 families every week now. And also our Venarge Family Food Pantry and Resource Center, where we are right now, which is serving almost 1,000 families a week as well. And so as the food bank, we have the scale to serve the community directly when it's needed, and we're in neighborhoods where there is a need.
So How does the food bank and our hunger relief partners in the community meet the needs of the community? How do we collaborate?
I think that collaboration is core to the work of the food bank. The food bank only exists because of community collaboration. None of the work that we do, none of the food we distribute is done in isolation, which I think is a beautiful thing and a community at work at its best in some ways, right? And so, of course, the work of the food bank is about food distribution. Last year, we distributed 35 million pounds of food. There were more than 3 million visits to our hunger relief network, and so the need in this community continues to be really high. But when a community can come together and think about not just the food itself, but who needs it, what they may be experiencing, we can find new ways to reach people to ensure that we're doing our best to be as accessible as we can. And again, to constantly question, are we doing enough? Are we in the right places? Do we have the right food and the right amount? And so something that we look to a lot when thinking about how we can continue to collaborate with the community, with our hunger relief programs, is a national research project that Feeding America did, engaging with people receiving food assistance and asking them, like, what gets in the way of you getting the food that you need? And across the country, there were 4 common things that came up. Awareness. So do I know where my local food program is? Do I know whether or not I'm allowed to go there? Do I know when it's open, etc.? So awareness is a big piece, and we, as the food bank, are a messenger in that regard, helping people understand where they can get the resources that they need, but also partnering with our hunger relief network to help them get the message out in their local communities. Another barrier is physical access. And so maybe I know where that program is, but can I get there? Do I have transportation to get there? Do I feel safe going there? When I get there, can I physically get inside the building? Those types of things. Certainly our home delivery program and our pop-up pantry are meant to address some of those physical access concerns. If people can't get out of their homes, can we get groceries directly to them? If there's not a pantry close by, can they get to it if we popped up somewhere closer, right? Another element is individual experience. And so you may know where the program is, you can get there, but when you go, what was the experience that you had? And so were the volunteers there kind to me? Did I have to wait a really long time? Did I get the food that I needed? That individual experience that people have may be the difference between them continuing to get the food they need or maybe questioning whether or not they should go back. And so the food bank spends a lot of time with our partners providing training opportunities and education, and really being a thought partner with our agency network to try to find ways that we can continue to create the most welcoming spaces possible. And the last one, and the most difficult one, and the one that I like to spend as much time on as possible, is stigma. And so how do I feel about myself if I have to go and ask a stranger to help feed me and my family? That one's a really hard one. And it's one that's personal to me. It still stays with me, the stigma that I experienced when my family needed help. And so that's one that everyone watching this video can help us with, because how we treat each other, how we talk about each other, how we talk about this work really matters. And that one is one that the food bank and our hunger relief networks certainly have a role in, but that's going to take an entire community moving the needle on how we think about needs, how we treat one another, how we talk about one another, to ensure that when somebody needs help, that barrier of stigma, that question of whether or not I'm deserving or what it means that I need to ask for help shouldn't be there. And so all of that, all of those barriers are thought about when we think about the program design of what the food bank is doing, but also in our conversations with our hunger relief network.
Well, thank you, food bank friends. We so appreciate you joining us today. I hope that you'll take this information that Katie has shared with us and use it in your fight against hunger, helping the community and our neighbors, and doing the best that we can every day. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact the food bank. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Have a great day.